At present, the UK is not offering that, and I think that's why there is one millionaire leaving the UK every 45 minutes. When politics fail, the economy fails, and they're trying to find taxes to pay their bills. So the easy solution adopted by the new government is, of course, to tax the rich at a higher level. And the way they've done this is with the abolition of the non-dom status, which was a beautiful setup established more than 100 years ago. It derails tax planning of the rich, and the rich don't like this. So the non-dom is not only about the profits that will be taxed globally, but also the inheritance tax, which there are many countries that they don't have inheritance tax, but the UK has. And as a result, because you are a UK tax resident, you will be paying inheritance tax irrespective of where your properties reside. From experience, each visa application is entirely different from another.
It's very unique.
It's unique.
Not one size fits all. What are the options of becoming a Cyprus tax resident? In the past year alone, over 12,000 millionaires have left the UK. Why is this happening? Number one is the abolition of the non-dom tax status. Then it's the capital gains allowances, which have been slashed from over £12,000 to just £3,000, meaning far more of your profits are now taxed. And then there is the growing uncertainty around the economy and personal freedoms. If you're watching this, you're probably asking the same thing they did. Is now the time to leave? And if so, where do I go next? What's the smartest base for your business, your tax setup, and your lifestyle in 2025 and the years to come? I am Pavlina Papalouka, business relocation consultant, and in this episode of FinHub podcast, we're unpacking why Cyprus is quickly becoming one of the most strategic relocation destinations in Europe and how it compares against other popular options like Dubai, especially for UK citizens looking to relocate in 2025. And I'm joined by Kyriakos Tramountanellis, Cyprus-based tax advisor and founder of Cyprus Audit Services Limited, who previously worked in London with high net worth clients and has helped dozens of UK residents legally reduce their tax burdens and relocate to Cyprus with confidence over the past decades. Together with our team at FinHub, Cyprus's #1 platform for business relocation, tax strategy, and wealth structuring, we've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs, professionals, and investors shift their business, their tax base, and their lifestyle to Cyprus with clarity and ease. Kyriakos, welcome. So happy to discuss this topic with you because you're the expert, the Cypriot expert who worked in the UK. So let's start with the big picture. Why are so many high net worth individuals leaving the UK right now? What is happening, and what is the prediction about what is happening in the next 1 to 5 years, and why it's happening?
Well, I think the UK is in a very bad shape right now. Economically, I think they're not doing very well, and as a result, when politics fail, the economy fails, and they're trying to find taxes to pay their bills. So the easy solution adopted by the new government is, of course, to tax the rich at a higher level. And the way they've done this is with the abolition of the non-dom status, which was a beautiful setup established more than 100 years ago, which enabled the UK businessmen or the UK rich to be taxed only in the UK for properties or income generated in the UK. So this is one of the main reasons.
Can you explain that non-dom tax regime and what are the changes now? How it worked before?
Yes.
And what are the changes now?
I will, but this is not the only
Yeah.
reason. Is the other reason that I think so many millionaires are leaving the UK is also because the UK economy itself is in a very bad shape, so that the disposable income of the consumers has evaporated, and therefore it doesn't make much sense for businesses to go there and sell products or services. So unless you are in the finance industry and working in London, which represents 14% of the whole UK's economy. People are just struggling to survive. The inflation is very high. The electricity bills, the tickets, the meals have gone up by 28%. That's the official stats, which means that if you are a businessman, there's no point investing in the UK to sell things like products or provide services. So it's not only the non-dom. The non-dom is a key aspect, but it's also the fact that it's not a good market anymore for the rich to establish companies there and sell their products and services. Now, let's dive into the non-dom. What is the non-dom? The non-dom enabled in the past the rich to be taxed only in the UK. So if you were an entrepreneur who had houses all over Europe, businesses all over the world, and of course in London, you would only be taxed in London, in England, for your UK income. Now, with the abolition of the non-dom, unfortunately, you are taxed on your worldwide income. It's like the USA tax system. So even if you are paying taxes in the UK, you will be requested to pay taxes on your dividends from abroad, on your profits from abroad, as if they were generated in the UK. So this is the one main thing that is a total deterrent for the entrepreneurs and the rich and the millionaires and billionaires, that it's pushing them out of the UK.
And I have some stats here that this program benefited 37,000 plus high net worth individuals in the UK who will now be taxed.
Because let's not forget that the UK was a former colony. So the systems are there in all countries. The UK could exploit and was exploiting, or it was setting up companies everywhere in the world. So this was purposely done to serve the rich UK business people, the lords, and what have you. Now with the abolition, things are different because they will be taxed as if they are USA citizens on their global income. But besides the income, what's more important, and nobody mentions it, is the capital gains tax and the inheritance tax. So say you're a businessman who is a UK tax resident and has properties all over the world. And at some point you want to pass over these properties to your children. They will be taxed as if they were UK properties. So this is very easy. I mean, the taxes on the inheritance tax can reach up to 40%. So in the UK, as you well know, there is inheritance tax. In Cyprus, there isn't. Imagine that your strategy was to acquire properties all over Europe, all over the world, because you knew that these properties will be passed on to your children, either directly or through your company structures. Suddenly, all these properties will be taxed if these are inherited by your children, either with company structures or directly. The details and how the mechanics work are not the point of this discussion, of course, but this is tremendous because it derails tax planning of the rich, and the rich don't like this. So the non-dom is not only about the profits that will be taxed globally, but also the inheritance tax, which there are many countries that they don't have inheritance tax, but the UK has. And as a result, because you are a UK tax resident, you will be paying inheritance tax irrespective of where your properties reside, as well as the fact that because, as I've mentioned earlier on, UK is not doing very well at the moment, they're trying to collect taxes. And this is something that the millionaires, billionaires, and entrepreneurs don't like. They like stable economies, stable taxes. They need a legislation and a framework to work 5, 10, 20 years ahead and do their planning. At present, the UK is not offering that. And I think that's why there is one millionaire leaving the UK every 45 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so far, I think within the last 5 years, 40,000 millionaires have left the UK.
And now the concerns are increasing because a lot of them that were planning for a couple of years now, their relocation. I have some friends. Now they're relocating, so like within this year. And then some of them are now planning, so they will be leaving. So there is a very big discussion around this because they're concerned about future taxes as well that are coming. Yes.
Imagine that you run a country which needs certain taxes. If your high-paying people are leaving this country, it doesn't mean that you don't still need to pay those taxes. So the pie will be distributed with the middle class. So the fact that the millionaires are leaving It means that they will not be paying their high taxes in the UK, and it means that that gap will be allocated with the rest of the society of the UK. So things will get even worse, assuming all things being equal. So taxes for the existing people who are staying in the UK will be higher because they need to meet that gap that the millionaires left. Mm-hmm. And what that means, it means that their disposable income will be less. It's already low, but they will be paying more taxes, which means they will be spending less, which means all the known things, that there won't be any growth in the UK, and maybe this could lead to a recession. All things being equal, unless something major happens, geopolitical or a very good economic new policy takes place to restore this situation. So yes, the future looks grim. That's why FinHub has so many inquiries from the UK, from people who want to relocate. They're asking about permanent visas. They're asking about taxes, company formation in Cyprus, relocation packages, and what have you.
Yeah, because now, they had the Brexit, so they're not even part of the EU. So it's a different process for UK citizens. They are treated as non-Europeans.
Of course.
So they need to be very careful how they do their relocation. And that's what we do at FinHub. They can find the right experts, get a code, get advice. The wealthy right now in the UK, they feel penalized. Or somebody that is an entrepreneur and they start making a lot of money, they feel like, I'm going to be taxed now. The government is going to take most of my income. So if I can live somewhere else with better lifestyle, lower taxes, why stay in the UK? So where are all these high net worth British people and online entrepreneurs and remote workers choosing to relocate to? Which are the top countries? And of course, we have Cyprus as one of the top choices, and we're going to explain why. What are the other countries?
Research has shown that they relocate to UAE, Portugal, Malta, and Spain. These are the 5 contenders with Cyprus. And I think if you think about it, they have similar characteristics. They are safe. They are very safe to live in, unlike the UK and especially London these days. Their taxes are relatively low, with the exception of Spain, but they have some special schemes for people who are relocating there. And they are beautiful countries. And over and above, they offer a lifestyle. Spain to a higher extent, the islands, Malta, Cyprus, they are different, but they still have that islanders lifestyle. And Dubai, of course, which is the epitome of luxury and good living, and of course, indulging yourself. So similar destinations for our beloved Brits. And of course, Cyprus, as you've mentioned, is one of their key destinations because they know Cyprus. They are coming here for holidays. We used to be a former colony. Even the way we drive is the same. We all talk very good English.
The legal system
is the same, like the UK is based on the Anglo-Saxon, on a common law, case by case. They feel comfortable with Cyprus because I believe they know Cyprus. So we have many who relocate to Cyprus, whether they are millionaires or, of course, entrepreneurs who earn 200,000, 300,000 per annum in London, who decided that I had enough, especially with this abolition of the non-dom. I want to go somewhere else and be taxed at a lower tax. And before we dive in even further, Pavlina, something very important. People in London, I'm stressing out London because it's a financial hub and center of the UK. I mean, that's where most work and finance is taking place, trade and what have you in big volumes. People now are mobile, and due to the globalization, people marry with other nationalities. So many Londoners are married with other international people who are also living in London. They've met in London, they're working together, or they met them somewhere, they got married. The abolition of the non-dom means that if your spouse is a tax resident now, or if you are entitled to your spouse 50% of property, which is abroad, the inheritance tax is likely to kick in. So out of the blue, the UK tax system is touching on international properties and collecting taxes in the UK as a result of a marriage. I'm not a UK expert. This is something that has to be run with the UK experts and, of course, the overseas tax experts. But this abolition of the non-dom and this inheritance tax is huge. So that's another parameter.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought about it actually.
Yeah. So what are the tax benefits that Cyprus offers to UK residents who relocate? Let's start with that.
The tax benefits are, of course, 0% dividend because you will become a non-domicile. The corporation tax, if you run a business in Cyprus, is 12.5%, but the effective tax is much lower because Cyprus is very relaxed in terms of what considers a business expense, unlike other countries. Dividend income, either personally or via company, is tax-free. So either at the company level, that's why Cyprus is so popular for holding structures. So you have a Cyprus company that owns many other companies. It receives all the dividends tax-free and pays them to the shareholder tax-free. What else? The tax benefits. If you will be an employee, even with the lowest salary here in Cyprus, which is just less than 900 euros, you will be entitled to free medical care. We have the National Healthcare System of Cyprus. You pay a small amount for the ESE. We call it ESE here in Cyprus. It's the equivalent of NHS. And you are entitled with only 5 or 10 euros to go to the hospital and do x-rays.
This is if they start their own company in Cyprus and they become employees of their company.
Correct.
If they come as employees, remote workers, they need to buy their own insurance, right?
Yes. To be entitled to free medical care, you need to be contributing to the social securities. So one way or the other, irrespective of which visa package you have chosen, okay, some of them enable you to be an employee and, of course, enjoy this free medical care.
How does a British person who is now outside the EU get residency or visa to live legally in Cyprus? What are the programs that we have?
The most popular program is, of course, the permanent resident program, which allows the British to invest in Cyprus, either to a commercial or a home property or a house for more than 300,000 euros plus VAT. Usually the VAT, because it will be considered their primary residence, will be 5% and not 19%. Okay, and this is a fast track. It's a safe way to come to Cyprus and live here without any questions asked. You will become Cyprus tax resident. You can have a company. You will be the non-domicile. You won't be paying any dividend tax. Your company will be paying the taxes that I've mentioned earlier on. If you don't want to invest in an office or in a commercial property or neither into a house, the scheme allows you to invest in Cyprus companies as long as they have more than 5 employees. It allows you to invest in funds. We have many funds because Cyprus is a financial center. We have many funds here in Cyprus. So you can put your money, you can put your 300,000 in a fund instead of buying something tangible, get the return, and of course, get your permanent resident. And after 5 years, you can go for the citizenship, which means, of course, you will get a passport, which will be an EU passport, which will enable you to travel everywhere in Europe without having the requirement of a visa. So this is the most popular one. Other visas are, of course, the BCS visa, which enables a person from a third country in the UK to invest 200,000 in a company that he will create and he will be the director and the shareholder. Okay, so the BCS visa can go either with a deposit in the bank or, of course, with the acquisition of a property that exceeds 200,000. That's another option. Of course, the BCS visa enables you also to be an employee of your company and to the free medical care that we've mentioned earlier on. There is the digital entrepreneur visa, which is for people who are usually IT or who would rather work remotely. They can work remotely. So the digital nomads visa, okay, this is the name of the visa, which has opened, I believe, for 2025 again. It has a ceiling. There is a maximum amount of seats available, so it's first come, first served basis. And these visas enable someone from the UK to come to Cyprus, work for a UK employer, okay? And that UK employer will be servicing other clients which are not based in Cyprus. So anyone can relocate from the UK to Cyprus as long as their employer is a UK company and as long as this UK company does not provide services in Cyprus.
So they get taxed in the UK.
The company gets taxed in the UK.
And the employee?
The employee becomes Cyprus tax resident, gets taxed with all as a normal tax person like myself or yourself.
Okay. What are the options of becoming a Cyprus tax resident? That's an interesting topic. And what are the regulations around that?
Okay. To become a Cyprus tax resident, it means that you need to be living in Cyprus at least 60 days or more than half of the year, which is the known 183 days. So whether you're in the UK or in India or in the US, if you want to become a Cyprus tax resident, first you need to be living in Cyprus at least 60 days or more than half a year, and you should not be living anywhere else more than 6 months. And of course, you should not be considered as a tax resident anywhere else in the world unless your tax experts decides with the Cyprus tax experts that you will have dual tax residency, which is rare. So commonly, you need to be living in Cyprus, running a business here in Cyprus, and be an employee of your company. These are the requirements. You can be staying in hotels, you can be renting Airbnb, as long as you have an address and you prove that you've been in Cyprus either 2 months or 6 months, which is the global taxation benchmark where each jurisdiction considers you a tax resident of a specific country.
So what is the difference between the 60-day residency and the 183-day residency?
The 60-day residency is a unique tax scheme that Cyprus invented, approved by the European Union, and enables anyone who is living in Cyprus more than 2 months, which are the 60 days, to be considered as a Cyprus tax resident. If you don't take this scheme, maybe you do not want this scheme. If you're coming and staying here anyway more than 6 months, by definition, you will be considered as a Cyprus tax resident because you are living. By
definition, so you have to pay local taxes.
Of course.
So you need to do your exit from your country properly, close
that's a very
the
good
taxes
point, Pavlina.
there.
That's a very good point, yes.
Because if somebody takes their stuff, they're a digital nomad, and they just start living in Cyprus.
No, you've touched a very good point.
Will the government go after them?
Yes.
Where do they pay taxes? Yes. Because many people do that.
Yes. Okay. This is a golden nugget that you've just given to the audience. If you're changing your tax residency or you're relocating, and especially if you are a UK citizen, a USA citizen, a Canada citizen, German citizen, or a citizen of any developed country, you need to make sure that you know inside out your exit laws. These are the laws, the tax laws that are called exit laws, and these are the requirements that you need to meet so that your local tax office will consider you that you have properly changed your tax residency. I mean, this is a very important part of the process because, for instance, since we're talking about the UK now, if you own UK property and you come to Cyprus without selling that property, the UK might never consider that you change your tax residency, even if you're not living in the UK, even if you're living 6 months in Cyprus. So they will tax you on your Cyprus or on the income that you generated in Cyprus as if it was a UK income. The same
so
goes.
So nothing changes in your tax residency
exactly.
If you don't close things, sell your properties.
Bravo, yes.
Yeah.
If you're married and you have children going to school in the UK and you say that I've changed my tax residency, I'm a Cypriot tax resident now, I don't think that the HMRC will accept this argument. You need to prove that you have permanently done a lot of actions that evidence that you have permanently left your life in the UK. If you have children there and your wife is there, it doesn't make sense and they will tax you.
So if you take your children and your wife and you relocate to Cyprus...
And you don't own any companies under your name?
In the UK. You need to move your companies to Cyprus, let's say. If you have properties in the UK on your name...
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
Yes,
you will still be a tax resident of the UK. You cannot escape from that.
If you are not a tax resident in the UK, any income that is generated there or any disposal or any inheritance tax could be triggered in the UK.
Okay.
That's why, because taxation is not a black or white thing, that's why we as tax experts need to communicate with our clients tax consultants in the UK. We tick all the boxes, we cross all the T's to make sure that all their actions and our future intentions are aligned with what the HMRC needs to see, for instance, for a smooth transition.
Excellent, because like all of my friends, high net worth individuals who are looking to relocate to Cyprus, they all have properties in the UK. They have a business that maybe they can move to Cyprus and they visit the UK for part of the year. They have the kids that they want to move to Cyprus. So the process is not just talk to a Cyprus accountant, immigration expert. Talk to your local UK accountant first.
That's the first step.
About exiting.
Yes.
Then you can go to FinHub and
then you go
get
to
a quote.
FinHub, you can find an immigration expert, you can write your circumstances. The platform will channel your circumstances to our approved, regulated, licensed immigration experts. These are big firms who are providing these services for more than 10 years. They have all the expertise and they are assisting hundreds of people to relocate or to get visas from all over the world. So, but even that's one step. The other step is, of course, to find, of course, via FinHub, of course, your tax expert who will communicate with your UK expert. So step one, as you correctly mentioned, what does the UK need to ensure that I can be deregistered as a tax resident?
So you make your decision to leave the UK. First, you talk with your local tax consultant accountant to deregister, how to deregister from the UK if you're going to move your taxes as well.
Your expert will advise you on that because at the time of this podcast, we have certain facts. By the time anyone does the move or the shift, these facts could change. Is a UK tax expert
in the UK. It's changing fast.
It's progressive.
Then, you find that an expert, immigration
tax expert and immigration expert. They are two different
things. In Cyprus, you can search on your own, or you can come on the FinHub platform where we have vetted and verified experts and get quotes from there. Talk to them, see what you need to do. Then what is the next step before we take step by step how to relocate from the UK?
So the next step is to act on what the UK expert said. So dispose of properties, change maybe shareholdings on your companies, maybe change the group structures of your companies. These are actions that your UK tax expert will do. Then you will proceed, of course, with the selection either of the permanent visa, either of the BCS visa, either of the key skilled workforce visa, or the long-term resident visa, or even the digital entrepreneur visa. It depends on your circumstances. And of course, Pavlina, at the time of this video, I've mentioned 4 or 5 visa schemes. In the future, they could be reduced to 2 or increased to 10. So that's why you need an expert who knows whether these visa schemes are open, whether the immigration office is fast, whether there's a pile of applications that are not moving, whether certain programs have reached the ceiling. So even if we know about them, they are not an option. And of course, from experience, each visa application is entirely different from another.
It's very unique.
It's unique.
Not one size fits all, and not only for UK citizens. Globally. We have Canadians now, Americans.
The circumstances of each individual are so different that the whole application is different, and you need an expert to know how many rooms, how big the property you will buy will be, for instance, to be eligible for the permanent residency. They need to know which passport shall they use to get you the visa. We have people with many passports. We have people that they do not communicate. For instance, we have clients that they don't communicate with their parents, and they cannot provide us, for instance, their father's birth certificates.
Oh my God.
So these applications get stuck because
you need the parents.
You need the parents, you need your birth certificates, you need evidence to track your history. If you're
going to relocate from the UK, you need to be in a good relationship
with your
parents.
Get along with your parents
because you need some papers
from them. Yes, it's true. That's why each application is totally different.
Okay.
It's never an easy ride, and it's worth mentioning to our listeners and our viewers, of course, that like all countries, visa applications take time. It's not a 3 months process. It starts from a 6 months process onwards. Unless there is a fast track visa, which at present there isn't. So if there is such a fast track visa option, you are expert, you can find them on FinHub. We'll tell you about it. And of course, you can add it in your choices.
So what are all the benefits of relocating to Cyprus when you move both your residency and your tax base here? We said 12.5% corporation tax. We said a non-dom status.
Zero dividend
tax.
On global income.
For 17 years.
Yes. Cyprus has more than 65% double tax treaties with many countries. And as a result, even if you own shares of overseas companies or if you trade abroad and for some reason, if you have permanent establishments in other countries and you are taxed there, Cyprus will not tax you twice on the same profits. And based on the double tax treaties, because Cyprus has such a low tax, it is 99.9% of the cases that the overseas taxes are always higher than what Cyprus would have taxed you. So you will never end up paying more than the 12.5%, even in profits earned abroad. Other than that, you have a low running costs.
No inheritance tax.
No inheritance tax.
How about the personal tax for those who are employees?
Of course, the highest tax-free amount in Europe
is 19,500, while in the UK now it's 3,000. After 3,000, you get taxed. They have reduced
in the
amount.
UK,
it's crazy. They want to tax everyone, even the poor. So
social securities are low
in Cyprus.
They are not as high as the other European countries. Running a business, finding key people is easy.
Yeah, we are a service-based economy. We have a lot of accountants, lawyers.
VAT applies as well in Cyprus. So if you're providing services in other European countries, there is no VAT. If you're selling products or services outside the EU, again, there is no VAT. So this is fine. The legal protection, Pavlina, you've mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, because we're based on the Anglo-Saxon system, we have a case by case, you know what to expect. If there is a fraud, if there is a commercial dispute with your business, you can see similar businesses and see how the courts ruled. Favorable or against them, and you can know in advance how, if you take your case to court, how it will be treated. We have the EU protection, so the EU protects us. Besides the Cyprus Supreme Court, we have the EU Supreme Court, which you can address, unlike the UAE, for instance, where the ruler will decide, or the local authorities, and then if you have a problem, very rarely it will go to the ruler, and once the ruler decides, you cannot change that decision. It's the end of the story. Then banks are protected. We have the EU mechanism are checking our banks. They are stress testing the banks all the time. Now our banks are heavily and very strongly capitalized. They don't lend to anyone who doesn't contribute with own funds more than 70%. So they only lend 20 or 25 or in some cases 30%. Again, these are things that you don't have in Dubai or the UAE because you don't have the European safety net of 100,000 per banking jurisdiction per entity. Besides that, these are the tax advantages and the commercial advantages. You have the lifestyle. As you well know, you have the beautiful awarded sandy beaches. You have friendly people. I will
also stand on the education system because we have a lot of private schools. Yes. I went to one that is based on the British system, and I took my O-levels and my A-levels and my GCSEs. So very good education system, healthcare system, because I hear from friends in the UK when they wanted to do operations, the NHS, it's like a crazy situation. And I compared to YESI in Cyprus.
Which still works.
Which is excellent. I see a lot of British retirees in Paphos, and the medical system is excellent.
I believe one of the main reasons actually that the retirees choose Cyprus, because it has become even more popular with the introduction of the NHS, is the NHS.
Yes, I can totally see that. When I hear from my friends who are a little bit older and they have the health issues. And then, of course, the properties are very affordable in most areas like Paphos, and they have historically a very good ROI. So if your children or you are going to sell it at some stage, you will get a good return on investments.
Without any inheritance tax, and the capital gains tax in Cyprus is only 20%, unlike the UK, is 20% on the profit. And of course, there's an adjustment, indexation allowance like the UK, where it's going to push the cost that you acquired your villa in Paphos, for instance, 20 years ago to the current market price, so that you will only pay tax deducting the selling price minus that new valuation following the indexation, minus, of course, any legal fees that you might have incurred or any other expenses for the disposal of the property.
And lastly, fully remote setup is possible. You don't need to...
It's possible and it's very common.
Yeah, so what can they set up remotely? Let's say they decided to relocate their business to Cyprus and their tax base. They can go on FinHub to get a quote from experts, and then...
The ideal visa for them will be the skilled labor visa because it requires them to have an office and have employees. Local and from abroad. So you see there are different visa requirements that cater all the needs.
So what things can be done remotely by the accountant and the lawyer if somebody is relocating their business, their tax base? What are the things that can be done remotely, and what things do they need to be in Cyprus for? Okay,
very good. The company is incorporated remotely. The bank account is created remotely. The visa documentation and application, of course, is entirely remotely. You will only be required to come to Cyprus at the immigration office just to meet the immigration officer to validate that you are the person in the application and to grant you, of course, the visa to come, stay and work in Cyprus. So we've reached the point where the professional sector, the banking sector, but as well as the government sector are working towards a remote application, a remote seamless journey either for relocation or for relocation of companies, group structures, and what have you. At this point, I would like to stress out, because we see from FinHub that they are dealing with other jurisdictions as well, and we are personally dealing with other jurisdictions, and now we're dealing more in detail with the UAE. People are complaining for the time that the visa takes to be issued or for the immigration matters to be resolved. It's very important to stress out, Pavlina, that this is normal. Let's not exaggerate. Changing your tax residency or getting a visa, especially if you're not European, is not an easy task. Europe protects its borders.
Anywhere, really.
Anywhere.
Yes.
Anywhere.
Even in the UAE, there are processes,
right? Of course. It takes us a lot of time to gather the paperwork. It takes us a lot of time it takes the examiners a lot of time to process the paperwork. It takes some time in correspondence between us or our immigration experts and the local examiners, and of course transferring all these queries or paperwork that is required to the client. It's not easy. People need to understand this, because it's not fast in the UAE, even though it's proclaimed to be very fast and seamless. It's not easy in the UK, especially if you get a license for a company in a regulated market, if it's a stock exchange or if it's an investment company. The same way is not fast anywhere else in Europe. Because these are serious matters. Licensing is serious, visas are serious, changing tax residency is serious, exit laws are very serious. And they are all examined carefully, either in Cyprus or in the UK or anywhere else.
So it's not just the country you're moving to, it's your local authority. So how would you compare very quickly, especially the part about getting a permanent residency or visa and taxes between Cyprus, if you can, and Dubai or UAE, Spain, Malta, Portugal? If you can give us like a short comparison, especially for British people.
I cannot talk about Malta and Spain. However, what I can say about Malta and Spain, because we are not dealing with those jurisdictions, is that we have clients that they have acquired the golden visas and they were not complaining about it. So I guess the mechanisms there.
So they are good competitors.
They are good competitors of Cyprus.
Yes, okay.
What I would say about Cyprus, which is something that we have the expertise and the niche, of course, is that The process takes 6 to 12 months. It works. And this is how things work here. It cannot be faster. In Dubai, it could be a bit faster, but again, it depends on the applicant. Let's not forget that if, for whichever reason, your name is synonymous to someone who has a non-clean criminal record, or if your parents or an address that you have declared maybe rings a bell, and either in Cyprus or in the UAE or in Malta or in Spain, this could delay your application a month or two, just this fact. What I'm trying to say is that the systems are similar in the countries that you mentioned. I believe Spain and Malta have this model worked a bit more than other jurisdictions. Dubai is faster than Cyprus, but Cyprus is it's nicer than Dubai, it's cheaper than Dubai. You cannot expect to have it all, you know. So if your application delays 3 or 6 months more, let it be. We are pushing as professionals and our service providers who are regulated and registered with FinHub. They are pushing the authorities. They're sending their people to push the examiners, to push the envelope, to do what they have to do fast. Because you have the clients who are pressing them. FinHub also checks how is the work doing, has this user being served, are they happy, because they leave recommendations as well on the platform. So everyone is pushing, but certain things require certain time to be implemented. And this is Cyprus.
So who is Cyprus good for with regards to UK citizens and anyone outside Europe, really? We talked about retirees. I will say also online entrepreneurs who are making a really good income and they can work from anywhere.
There are many of them.
Digital entrepreneurs, we have many of them working remotely.
Millionaires who are receiving income from dividends. So passive income holders, that's beautiful because we have the best holding structure in Europe.
Tech founders working.
Of course, we have another tax benefit, which I haven't mentioned earlier on, about the tech industry, is that disposal of securities, trading of securities, is entirely tax-free in Cyprus. So you can be selling hundreds of millions of shares and you will be taxed zero in Cyprus. Ship owners, we have special taxes for ship owners that are taxed on the tonnage if they wish to and not on the profits of the company. Movie producers, they get the rebates if they're producing movies.
Yes, we have also from the US movies now being filmed in Cyprus.
Because there are rebates. There are rebates and tax
Europeans
allowance.
as well.
Of course.
A lot of Netflix TV series are also part of them, are filmed in Cyprus, even from Sweden. I've seen on Netflix scenes from Cyprus.
I believe Turkey pushed and it pushed the movie industry. Greece is pushing for these rebates, and Cyprus. So we have these three contenders. So you have big Hollywood actors, I'm talking from experience, that are examining what does Turkey give me, what does Greece gives me, the producers I'm talking about, what does Cyprus gives me, and then they check, okay, where is nice to run and
the location.
The location.
And of course, in Cyprus, we have a perfect Mediterranean setting, perfect weather all year round, very few days of rain. So it's...
there are different conditions, of course. You need to promote the country, so it depends if they fit the appetite of the producer.
Okay. I guess for a reality show, that would be great because for a reality show, if any producer is watching us, get in touch. We also have some ideas as well.
We have ideas and we know how to guide you and navigate you through the rebates.
It's time for Netflix to look into Cyprus.
Yes.
And
other than that, Pavlina, I think there is no distinction between who will benefit from coming here. If you're doing a mobile work, if you need a desk and a laptop to operate, or if you need to hire local people or bring your employees from abroad, this island caters because the tax savings and the running of the company are so low that your dividends will be increased by at least 30%. I mean, at least because you will pay 0% on dividend tax, so you're saving directly 20 or 30% just by being a Cyprus tax resident and shareholder, and non-dom, of course. And over and above, your dividends, the extra 10 or 15 or 25% will increase because the running of the company, the salaries here, the marketing expenses, the rentals of premises, the electricity bills, all these expenses are a fraction of what you would pay in other countries, and especially in London, which currently with the 28% inflation increase is a killer, especially for small entrepreneurs and medium-sized companies.
Great.
And households, of course.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any case studies of UK residents who relocated to Cyprus through your company that you can mention maybe, and what extra benefits they found when they finally did the relocation properly?
Yes, I can think of 2 examples which are different. So we add value to the podcast, of course. One of them is it's a business owner in London. I believe he's making there around 300,000 UK sterling in profits.
A year?
Yeah, of course. And when he came to us, his primary concern was the non-dom abolition. And of course, it was the safety of his children. So he was okay up to a certain age for his children to be raised in London. But now he feels that it's very dangerous and risky. So he would rather relocate to Cyprus. And we've started the application for him with a special visa program. And he is in the process of taking all the exit laws in the UK because he has a business there and he's in the process of letting the business run by someone else while he's coming in Cyprus and starting a similar company or a complementary company to what he was doing in the UK. And of course, relocating his family here and starting a new life. He's been in Cyprus many times as a tourist. That's why he liked it and that's why it was an option. He read about all these visas and of course, everyone knows about the abolition of the non-dom because it's in the news every day. BBC talks about it all the time. People are frustrated. And this move, I mean, everything is in motion now, will save him, I don't know, maybe 35 or 40%. So the dividends from the 300,000 could be much more. The other case is very high net worth individuals who changed simply their tax residency. They relocated to Cyprus. The high net worth individuals have their tax experts and everything, so they are very well educated and aware of what they need to do.
In the UK?
In the UK. They have set up their Cyprus companies, they got the permanent residency, and they're receiving dividends from all over the world without any stress and, of course, tax-free.
I guess those are the ones that will live faster because they already have their tax advisors and yes. For them it's seamless, the process.
One of them is leaving every 45 minutes. They're
willing to pay the experts, which is the right thing to do. Don't DIY it.
DIY, because, oh my God.
Let's talk about these mistakes, what mistakes to avoid, because a lot of people, especially younger entrepreneurs, I see that they try to DIY everything and they get in trouble. You need to get professional advice. You need to go to the experts. Then other mistakes, I see in Cyprus a lot of like shady agents, or there is one British person starting a company, yes. naming it Relocation. So they don't go to local licensed verified experts. They go to these agents and offshore firms.
It's very important for our listeners to know that taxation, immigration, and law are very complex matters. It's similar like going to the doctors. Would you trust your health to a doctor who is cheap or who is popular, but you haven't
just
shared
put
anything?
A sign, move to
yes.
your city and put a sign.
You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. So please only use regulated service providers. We have many in our platform. You can check them, communicate with them for free. Or it's very good to go and visit their premises. Avoid going to 1 month or 2 month or 3 month show. Lawyers, accountants, tax experts or immigration experts, because these people are not working full-time and heavily on these companies. Maybe they're doing it on a part-time basis. Maybe they're working
and they
from
have
home.
limited knowledge
Of
as well.
course. These are very complex matters. You need
bigger
expertise.
Firm, they have a lot of case studies and a lot of examples they have worked with.
Pavlina, I'll tell you one example. Here in Cyprus, we're a big audit and assurance firm, and even us, there are some cases that we outsource to our colleagues. So there are tricky tax matters, tricky VAT matters, maybe tricky transfer pricing matters that we refer the job by FinHub, so that a Big 4 or a Big 10 audit and assurance or a big tax law firm takes on this specific task on behalf of our client, because we cannot know everything and it's our job.
And the professionals will do that. They will refer to somebody else, but some small firms or these like shady agents, usually they are British, and the British love to work with other British, and they find a British agent who is not even licensed. You don't know who they are giving the job to, and if everything is done properly. So be careful with that.
And visit their offices. Please visit their offices. Where are these people working from? How many staff do they have? What's the condition of the office? You can tell a lot just by visiting someone's office.
Yes. And don't assume one size fits all. Your case is specific. Get expert advice for your specific situation. And maybe don't wait for too long, because exit timing is important. It takes time.
Especially now, you mentioned earlier on that they are leaving now. Now it's past April. So the new tax year for the UK is now. So you cannot be living in the UK, especially more than 3 months. So let's say you cannot stay in the UK in April, May, and June. You cannot stay more than July in the UK and feel comfortable that you're going to change your tax residency. Because you already stayed
then
3-4 months.
Then
you will miss the year. So you need to, that's why you need the tax experts, because they know these tricks. They know what the HMRC considers a red line of the amount of months that you stayed in the UK to consider you a UK tax resident. So these are very important points.
Great. And future outlooks, predictions for the UK. Of course, there is a global move towards relocation. It's not just UK. Remote work, online business, becoming an online investor has enabled people to work from anywhere. Are there any other trends and predictions you have with regards to the UK that people should know right now if they're thinking about this move?
I think that the UK will keep servicing very well the people in the finance sector, because London is booming and these people in the finance sector are getting remunerated much more than the rest. But with the exodus of so many billionaires, millionaires, and entrepreneurs, it simply means that the growth of the UK will slow down. It means that the government will not be able to collect the taxes, since these people will be taxed in Cyprus, in Malta, in the UAE. So they will need more taxes. So I believe the government will tax them even more. And I think the UK, besides the financial issues, is facing some other more important issues with the immigration and illegal immigrants, and the amount of Muslim people that are now living in the UK, which is very high. I think is losing its identity. I think this inflation pushed the property prices off the roof. They're printing out money. I think we're going to see a recession which was way overdue since the Brexit, coupled with the COVID phenomenon that destroyed and inflated everything. So I do not see the UK having a positive horizon, definitely for entrepreneurs, definitely for households, definitely for millionaires. Even for the lords and the people who belong to the establishment, they will need to run a place and they will need to be creative. The British are not famous for being creative and entrepreneurial, to find ways to find money, to salvage the situation. So that's my assessment.
Well, economies have cycles, there are trends, empires fall and they rise again.
Of course.
So we are
Yes.
in cycles,
Yes.
and Cyprus is on a rise, and it's great for
Yes.
us Cypriots, and we welcome serious entrepreneurs. Also, we welcome people who love Cyprus, love the culture. I think the British are some of the most respectful people I have seen when they relocate to Cyprus. They love our culture.
Everyone
Yes.
loves this, the British. You can tell this from all the restaurant owners.
Yeah.
At the summer resorts, everyone loves the British. We like the way
they love Cyprus. They're so relaxed. They love the food, the culture. Like they become different people when they come here.
We enjoy seeing them having fun, getting drunk, having the best time of their lives here, especially when they are on holidays. Mm-hmm. The retirees are very peaceful. They don't bother anyone. Yeah. Very well respected, feeling that they have a new home. Mm-hmm. And the business people, of course, their culture is similar to ours because we used to be, as I mentioned, a former colony. So the way we conduct business is the same. In English, everything is in English.
Excellent. So relocating is a very important decision, a very serious decision. Do it with the guidance of experts. Here at FinHub, we're not just a podcast, we are a platform, a relocation platform, where you can find the top vetted, verified experts in Cyprus. You can get a code for free. Just go on finhub.com.cy. Within 2 minutes, you put in your request. We're going to look into it. Our team will look into it. They will match you with the right experts within 2 to 5 days. You will have quotes. You talk with the experts, you choose the right one. You can start with the relocation process remotely. And then, of course, we can guide you on the next steps when you are here locally. And anything else you want to mention for anyone thinking to relocate and thinking, how do I choose the right experts?
I haven't come across anyone who is not happy with Cyprus, either a business person or a young professional working either in a local firm or in an international firm. So I guess it's a wise decision to come here. I do hear minor complaints about the time that certain government offices take to execute some tasks, but this is a minor thing when you compare it to all the benefits we've been discussing for an hour now, Pavlina, and of course the fact that not only you will be wealthier because the taxes are low and the living standards are much lower than where you live, but also you will be happier because people here are happy, and we love the international community because they contribute their culture, their activities. They are not as lazy as the Cypriots. They do things that we never did in the past. And
everyone brings something new, and when they also embrace our culture, it's beautiful.
They do embrace it, and we're
the British,
very happy.
They embrace it. Yeah, excellent. So see you in the next episode. Make sure you subscribe. You like this video so that you can see more of our videos. Next episode will be hot topic Cyprus versus Dubai, all the details. And post your comments below in your experiences with relocating to Cyprus or to other countries, any questions you have, so that we can create our next episodes based on what you want to see from us. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.